I'm here with James Staten down in Santa Clara at the OpenStack Design Summit. James, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So, what brought you to the OpenStack Design Summit? Well, actually, before we get to that, what are you working on these days at Forrester?
So at Forrester, we're actually seeing a shift in the mindset of our clients away from getting educated about cloud to getting to the point of wanting to actually do something. And so they really want to know what are the solutions, what's real, what's mature, how they should implement it, what the ROI is going to be, and how they go about that calculation. And so I'm here at the OpenStack Design Summit to really mix with this community and learn from them what's real in the OpenStack world, how quickly these implementations are coming together, where the holes are, who's working on the holes, how it's going to be resolved, and how we're going to end up seeing an open source implementation of infrastructure as service, and how that's going to contrast to the mostly commercial or proprietary solutions that are in the market today.
So, any initial thoughts? We've had the beginning presentations that gave a quick overview of each of the component parts of the project, and we had the CIO of NASA Ames. Any thoughts so far?
Well, there's a fair amount of focus so far on how can we make this more resilient, more scalable, and more highly available. And we need all of those things for sure, because that's going to be a big issue for any service provider, especially in the light of what happened in the last week with Amazon having their recent outages and downtime. Everybody wants to avoid being in the press for the same reason that Amazon was last week. And so if you look at an OpenStack or an open source implementation of infrastructure service, there's a couple good things that come with this. Number one is that if you have it implemented and you're having some outages, you probably have 10, 20 other companies who've also implemented the exact same code that allows you to use the community as a support mechanism. I'm having this outage, I can't get to the root cause. Have you guys seen this problem? Have you implemented the same way? Here's the code. Is the code different? Has it changed? Am I missing a patch? Being able to reach out to a group like that of peers, especially if you're a service provider, but even more so if you're an enterprise, makes it so much easier to get to the bottom of the problem fast and not worry about, does the vendor know what's going on? Are they trying to cover for themselves? Have they held something back for me? Am I waiting on a patch that they just haven't approved? None of that applies in the open source world.
So, what do you hope to see come out of this conference? I know you can't be here for the whole thing, but what would you like to read about as far as either on the business side or the technical side?
Well, there's two outcomes realistically here. The first is that there's a list that comes out of this of the things that will be worked on over the next year. Because the Design Summit is really about what should we do. You don't actually design it here. So the list is going to be important. What is this community prioritizing, and what are they saying the technical teams need to focus on the most here? So I want to see what that list ends up looking like, which won't come out probably during the conference, it'll probably be a few days after. The second thing is from a business point of view, getting a sense of how big is this community in terms of its actual plans to implement an OpenStack implementation. Now, I don't expect to see anybody just take the code, download it, put it in their data center, and be up and running. They really need more of a support network around them, a commercial implementation that incorporates the OpenStack elements, which we've seen from Cloud.com, which we see from Citrix, and other companies will be adding in the OpenStack elements to their commercial implementation, and that's really what we need to see. So I'm looking here to talk to service providers about what their plans are, when they plan to implement, talking to commercial providers and what they plan to bring to market, and talk to enterprises about what they're going to do and how soon they think this is real for them.
And then lastly, how important is programs like Cloud Builders from Rackspace, where they're going to actually help you to come in professional services to get this up and going?
Well, they're obviously the leading example of a company who's implemented this, and so they're most likely the ones who have the most skills in order to help you do that. So they kind of have to kickstart the professional services around this implementation. Now, as other organizations and other enterprises get more experience with this, then they'll be able to supplement, and Rackspace can pull back a little bit on being the professional services arm of OpenStack. So I'd like to see that happen as quickly as possible, because that's not the core competency of Rackspace.
Excellent. James Staten, thank you so much.
Okay.